Hey guys, it's Daily Driven Supply Co. here on the YouTube channel. Again, I'm Roman from Daily Driven Supply Co., your premier Las Vegas destination for auto detail supplies and equipment. Today on the video, we're going to kind of be going through and answering a question of why is my Kranzle losing pressure or constantly revving up when the trigger is not pulled. So common symptom of this is when you're not pulling the trigger on the machine. We have the Kranzle right here. It's experiencing this issue. It'll kind of keep revving up, like rum, 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 trying to keep the pressure built. And a lot of what can happen from that is they're inside the machine. There's these stainless steel washers. It's where there's a ball inside the unloader valve. And when you pull the hose, this ball gets pushed away from the washer, letting water through. And that'll create the pressure from the motor. But when you release the trigger, the ball will seal against the stainless steel washer. And that will hold the pressure in the machine so that when you pull the trigger again, it's pressurized already. And it controls whether to let water through or not. And what happened is a couple of these machines last year, for about a month or two, there was a little bit of a manufacturing defect in these stainless steel washers that Kranzle found out. And this happened to be one of those machines. I don't believe we sold you guys any machines between that time, so you guys should be fine. But if you are having this issue, it's pretty easy fix at home. We could also do it through us as well. So we're going to kind of film a time lapse. I'll kind of voice over this and explain how you can solve a pressure issue specifically related to the unloader stainless steel washers. So come along with me. We're going to fix this Kranzle machine right here. Got it on the jack. It's like 80 pounds, but it's a beast machine. So as you guys can see here, we got the Kranzle machine. This is the 230 volt machine. Not many dealers sell this, actually. We're one of the only ones that sell it. But what we like it so much is the power and the flow it has. So if you guys can see here, it is a 230 volt machine. So you do need the 30 amp NEMA plug. This is very common if you have an older dryer or washer in your house. You likely have this outlet in your garage, which is great. Or if you have any 30 amp circuit, you can get an adapter and run this, as well as shops like we have here. We have 50 amp circuits in the warehouse, and all we did was get a converter from 50 amp to a 30 amp circuit, and this plugs right in. Because the machine itself actually doesn't pull 30 amps. It only pulls 13 amps, believe it or not, but it does pull 230 volts, which is why you need to step up to that 30 amp plug, because your normal household outlet is only gonna let you get up to about 120 volts. So this is a great machine, 2.9 GPM, and 1900 PSI, pretty much one of the perfect specs for washing a car if you're not using a 1622. 1622 is about 1.7 to 1.8 GPM, depending on how you set up the tip. This is going to have a gallon per minute more flow, which is going to help you foam more. And also the 1900 PSI, that's nice, but you could also dial that back with the correct orifices, like a 5.5 or 6.5 orifice, get down to that 1200 PSI, which we like for washing cars. But so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing, there's a stainless steel O-ring in here on this unloader valve, which is likely the culprit. We're going to start with that. And if that doesn't work, there's another stainless steel O-ring inside this easy start unloader valve up here, which would be the non-return valve. This is actually the easy start valve. This is the non-return valve. So we're going to be replacing those, and we'll start with this unloader valve first because it's easier. And I believe that's a culprit based on the symptoms. And what's happening with this is when we turn the gun off, every like 5 or 10 seconds, the machine will rev up like you pull the trigger for about half a second and rebuild pressure, and it'll keep losing pressure. So we believe there's some leakage happening with this washer. So what we're going to do is we're going to first start by taking this Prima fitting off. It's been on, I think we Loctited this, and it's been on here for a while, so it's probably going to be a pain. But that just shows you the Loctite's working well. So can't complain. We're going to get up here, break this thing loose. There we go. And you guys can use a normal open-ended wrench for this. It's just we deal with so many different fittings, the 1/4 inch and the 3/8, and they're all different wrench sizes. So just for quick services like this, we usually like to use a crescent wrench because we can easily adjust. You can see Prima fitting here, got the Loctite right here. See if this camera got the Loctite on this. So now what we got to do, which I got to go get my tools for. So inside here, there is going to be a washer in here and a ball inside this little end right here. So we got to take this off, and I usually like to use an impact just because it's quick and easy. And you know, it's a little bit of a pain to get off with the wrench. We could try it real quick, but using an impact to loosen this is completely fine. Again, tightening it, you want to be a little bit more careful, but just to take this off, the impact, you don't need a crazy big impact because it is brass, but because it is brass, sometimes if you're using real hard water, it can get a little bit corroded on. So yeah, instead of messing with that, I'm gonna go get an impact and we'll get it off. So we're back. We got our flex impact here. Don't be like me, use an impact socket, but this is what I could quickly find right now. So we got our flex impact driver, throw a little adapter on there. And this is actually a 15/16 socket. This Kranzle is a little bit different because it's not, this is basically built by Dirt Killer USA and it's an exclusive model of the US. So there are some bolts on here that are American, but for the most part, any Kranzle you work on, it's going to be metric. 15/16, that's pretty close to about a 23 or 24 mil, I believe, around there, probably 22, 23. 21 is just too small to fit on this. So for this adapter, I'm going to be using a 15/16. Make sure I get this busted off real quick, and that's all it takes to get that busted off. This has no Loctite on it or anything because it's just an O-ring. As you can see, just an O-ring, and you do have a spring in here, so be watchful for that. This spring inside here is what this metal ball attaches to, and you can see this metal ball I was talking about in the first in the intro. We have this metal ball right here. You can see we haven't used this machine in a while because it has been having this issue, so it is a little bit corroded. But these stainless steel balls are very round, so they will roll all over the place. But this one looks fine. It does have one little gash on it, but it should seal just fine. And what happens is this sits on top of this ball, and when you pull the trigger, it's going to compress into here and allow water to flow through. And when you let go of the trigger, the spring springs this back and seals upon this little metal O-ring that's in here. So we'll show you what's going on with this. So if you guys look in there, you guys can see there's a little O-ring way in there. It's hard to see in there, but there's a little retainer clip right there, and then there's a little metal washer O-ring that's in there, and that's what the ball seals on. So what we're gonna do, get you guys back set up, is we're gonna replace that. So this is the AQ pump, the Kranzle AQ pump. So we're gonna pull a AQ, just internal unloader rebuild valve kit. This is gonna be for the APG, AQ, and your AZL pump for your 1622s. I believe we may have one already open, so I'm gonna check that real quick, but if not, this is what we'll be using. And you guys can see these this little metal washer right here. That's what the valve is sealing on, right? So these little stainless steel, the ball seals up against that. If you see this ball right here, it's gonna seal right up against that. And that's what creates that seal when you release the trigger to stop the pressure washer. So these are both machined to a very, very fine tolerance. And that's what we're having with this, is this one was in that production run where it wasn't machined correctly. So we're just gonna be replacing that and it should solve the issue. So we grabbed a couple more tools for these C-clips. Mainly you just want a needle nose. Good set of needle nose. We got a couple here. Got this little custom set of needle nose. These things are a lifesaver. These are actually ones my grandpa made like 60 years ago. Come in clutch every time. So if you have any of those will be good. Or, you know, just a nice set of needle nose. You just want something that's going to fit in here and lets you grab that C-clip. Also a little flathead or a pick. I don't have a flathead, but a little screwdriver like this or a pick will help you a ton. Also, if you guys are having this issue and the normal sized stainless steel ring is not working, we have all these part numbers right here for different, very different size stainless steel washers. So you can see we have 7 mil, another 7 mil with a groove. We have the 8.2 mil and the 8.2 with the groove. So any one of those is going to work. The groove is going to be the groove versus non-groove. It's going to depend on where you're putting it in the machine. Or the groove can also just help if one of the sizes is not working. So we'll go into more detail with that. But I'm going to hop on the other phone here and show you guys inside the unloader valve so you guys can see what we're looking at. So if we get a look inside here, you can see we have this C-clip in here that's holding this stainless steel washer in, and that's what the stainless steel ball goes onto. And you can see this one has a little bit of defects and also has some corrosion just from us not using the machine. But more so, this opening in the washer is not machined correctly on this production run, so we just got unlucky. It was only, I think, you know, like 10-15 machines that were affected, but we just happened to get one of those. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this C-clip out, and you are gonna destroy the C-clip. Just a heads up, there's no way around it. But in the maintenance kit, you do get a replacement C-clip, so don't worry about it. Just don't damage the brass around this. Be careful getting it out, but if you need to bend, twist, cut this C-clip to get it out, feel free to go ahead because you're not gonna be reusing it. So let's get to it. So we got the kit here. The kit we're gonna be using, the repair kit that you order is gonna come with 2 kits. It's going to come with this non-return valve kit, and it's also going to come with the bypass kit, or what we like to call it, the unloader valve. So the unloader valve kit is going to have a lot more stuff in it and bigger spring. That's the easiest way to identify it. It's going to have the bigger spring and 2 packages, as you see. It's going to have the bigger O-ring, and this is also for the control piston itself, which is going to be inside of this knob right here. So we're going to go with kit Y that comes in this, and that's for the non-return valve, which is this very last valve that you run into. So unfortunately, there's really no easy way to get this C-clip out. You just got to start working it. And it's even more of a pain to get it back in, but that's what we're going to be doing. We're replacing this right here is what we're replacing. So looks good. I'm going to get it replaced right now. And just so you know, this is the part we're trying to get out right here. Is this little retaining C-clip. You can see it's not like a normal C-clip like you would see that you could get with C-clip pliers. That would be great if it was, but unfortunately Germany has not included that yet. Hopefully they do at some point because it'll make this a lot easier. But it's set inside a groove and it's kind of clipped in and compressed a little bit. So you got to get under here, pry up, and then once you get some pliers in there, you can just yank it out. But you ain't getting pliers in there unless you get it pried up a little bit. So as you can see, guys, we got the C-clip out. And the best way to do it, there is a little gap at the top of where the retainer is, and it's a little bit of an opening that kind of arches over this. So my C-clip was orientated like that with the opening down. So I did was I rotated it in there, which is really easy to do. And I got in there with this flathead in the opening, pried this down, and while I was holding it and prying it down, I got in there with these needle nose, grabbed this, and just yanked it out, and it came out. So now we can get in there. Make sure you put the old one to the side. Get in there with a pick and get this stainless steel O-ring out. So that's all you do. Just pop it out like that. You're good to go. So we're gonna get the new one in. There is an O-ring back there that we need to take out. So maybe it'll help if I put my flipping mic on. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But yeah, there is an O-ring back there. It's going to be one of these. Should be the smaller one. So just grab your pick, get that O-ring out, just like that. And you can see right here, got our O-ring. So this O-ring, what it does, it just slides on the back of this like that. So we're gonna get the new one put on. So this is our new retainer clip. This is all our old stuff. So we're gonna get our new ball, retainer clip, and O-ring. Well, not the ball yet, just the retainer and the O-ring. The O-ring, when we're assembling these back together, you could put a little bit of lube on the O-ring. What Kranzle HQ uses is Vaseline, believe it or not, but we like to use something a little bit different. So yeah, so we usually use the AMSOIL food grade grease. So we're going to use that, just a little bit of it, and yeah, we'll go from there. So going to get some of that food grade grease, just grease this O-ring a little bit, not a ton, and get it put back in there. And we'll assemble this and test it. So as you can see here, we got this synthetic food grade grease from AMSOIL. It was funny, our AMSOIL rep came in and asked why we ordered this and asked if we are running a McDonald's conveyor belt, which we had a good laugh. But what we'd like to use this for, even though it's food grade grease, is it is extremely resistant to water washout, which literally we have a high pressurized water trying to wash out all the seals in this pressure washer, right? Because it's high pressure. So this is actually perfect grease for assembling this back because it's going to heavily resist water washout and it's going to keep that seal. So that's what we like to coat the O-rings with. What I'm going to do, just clean out that channel in there a little bit. Just make sure it's all good. And you should be good. So let's get a little bit of grease. Just a little bit. That's all we need. See, I only got a little bit on my finger, and I'm even not going to use that much. I'm going to just wipe it off a little bit. So just spread it around. And this grease is it's pretty viscous, so it stays stuck to the O-rings pretty well, which is nice. And you don't want to scratch this up, so if you could be careful with it, obviously it's the best way. It is a little bit tough to get in there, but if you just hang it on a screwdriver like that, get it pushed in. Just want to make sure you don't crush the O-ring. You want to have a good seal against the back of the machine, which should be perfect right there. So now it's sitting up against the back of the machine. I'll take a picture and show you right now. And now, the fun part, we're going to get our little retainer clip in. So this is going to be the fun one, but it is a lot easier to get in than it is to get out. So what you're going to do is you're going to orientate it up like this. You're going to slide one side in where the gap is and kind of rotate it around until it clips in. That's kind of what I found is the easiest way to do it. So it is going to be a little bit of a pain, like I said, but if it wasn't a pain, it wouldn't be fun. So let's get this back in there. So at long last, we got it. Got the clip snapped in. Now we just got to replace these three parts, which is the ball, this unloader spring, and we're good to go. So right here, obviously, we got the ball. We're not going to use that because it's meant for a different sized clip. We got to pull the O-ring off. Well, first pull the spring off. And note the orientation of this spring. So the fatter side is going to go down into the valve. And then we're going to pull this O-ring off. So we're back. I'm going to get this lubed up, this O-ring first. I'm going to lube it up a little bit with this food grade grease. It's going to slide on a little bit easier and also seal up good. Make sure we seal it up all good. Put it on there. It is a little bit small, so you're going to have to stretch it a little bit, so just be careful. Get it on there slowly. Just take your time. Slowly work it down. You just got to get over these threads. And we're going to get it up to that got to get over that little ridge into that channel right there. So if you're using a pick, just be careful you don't puncture the O-ring. But then we're going to stretch it over. And it should be a perfect fit once it gets over into that channel. There you go. Perfect fit in that channel. Put a little bit more grease for good measure. There you go. It's a good amount. You got to go crazy with it. What I like to do, just so this spring stays in place, is dip it in the grease a little bit. Just get a little bit on there. It ain't gonna hurt it. And so you got a little glob of grease on there, and put it in fat side down into this. So if you see this side's fatter than the side I'm holding, and we got this part on loader valve, I'm gonna put it fat side down into there. As you can see, the grease, it holds it in. So you can put your ball in there and screw it in, no worries. So that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna go test it out. So I also put a little bit of grease on the ball. A little grease on the ball, hold it in. And all the excess grease is gonna wash away with the water. So not a huge deal if you leave a ton on there. Just like to leave a little bit so that it stays in place. We're gonna screw it back in. Oh, the ball fell out. I'm actually gonna push the ball up so it stays in. And get this threaded in. And there you go. Hold on with the impact real quick. You don't gotta go crazy tight with this because it's got an O-ring. There we go. Now we gotta go test it out. Put the O-ring on, or put the fitting on. We'll go test it out, make sure it works. So as you can see, we got the pressure washer set up here. It's the Kranzle model, 30 amp service. Got it plugged in over there. Got our supply line running in, fresh water. And we got our Cobra Jet 50 foot running out and our MTM gun. So we flipped this on and we pressurized it. Pressurized real fast. Now what we got to check is after we spray, once we let the trigger go, we just got to make sure it doesn't keep revving up and recharging. So we sprayed, the pressure washer shut off correctly. And you can see by this gauge, it's staying steady right at 0 bar, 0 PSI, and it's not leaking up and then going back and charging up. That's what would be happening as the #1 symptom. So we got this fixed with the unloader valve. So if you guys are having some short cycling issues, that's what it's officially called, is short cycling. Sounds like your pressure washer is revving up when the trigger is off. This is exactly what you need to do. Replace your unloader valve first. It's the easiest fix. And that's it, here from Daily Driven Supply Co. You guys learned a lot from this. Again, we're Daily Driven Supply Co. in Las Vegas, 4416 Aldebaran Avenue, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89103. We have a retail storefront location. We're certified Kranzle service centers, and we sell Kranzle pressure washers and all your detailing products that you need. So if you need anything, please hop over to our website, ddsupply.co. Links in the description below. Follow us on Instagram at ddsupplyco. And keep following us on this YouTube. We're gonna be posting a lot more educational content for you guys with both detail products and Kranzle pressure washers. So thank you guys for supporting. And again, see you next time. Hope we helped you fix your Kranzle. Thank you guys.